Hello, my name is Mr. Milne. If you are watching this, that means you are a student in my IB Math Analysis SL2, aka Calculus class, and it also means you are going to be a remote learner only. So this is probably close to what I'm going to do in class on that first 8 days of school. So I'll try to cover everything I'm going to cover with them more or less. And if you have any questions, as always, feel free to email me. So just a quick synopsis of who I am. When I got out of college, I had a degree in math, but I went to work in the insurance industry, and it was horrifying. So I quit that, got a master's in teaching, and I've been teaching for 21 years. This is my 4th year at BHS. My life travel experiences, if you will. I was born in Michigan, moved to Alaska when I was a little kid, lived there through high school, went to college at the University of Oregon, and that's where I worked in the insurance industry and became a teacher. And then I moved to New Hampshire, became a dad and a middle-aged person. So that's how it goes. I am married with 1 child, 1 dog. I like to run, I like music, I like to read. All right, so math. I do expect you to make mistakes. They're good when you make them because it's how you learn. That's how the brain actually learns. So please be prepared and be all right with making mistakes this year. Calculus is going to be a new topic. It's a brand new math for you, and you should have questions, a lot of them. So please always feel free to ask them. And it's also possible I may not be able to answer them right away because you may ask incredibly good and deep questions. I may have to do a little bit of research from time to time, which is a good thing. Also, just in general, sometimes people feel that the faster you are at math, the better you are at math. That is not necessarily true. So do not ever feel like you are in a race or a speed competition. That's not how math needs to be done. So take your time. Do not worry about finishing as quickly as possible when you do problems. Kind of along the lines of the mistakes are okay. Struggle and confusion is a natural part of the learning process. So you should and will encounter some struggle on the different concepts this year. Not every one of them. Some of them will be like, oh, that makes sense. Some of them maybe won't make sense. That's where the confusion comes in. That's where you maybe make some mistakes, ask some questions, take your time, and eventually, if you believe you can accomplish it, you will accomplish it. So we're going to focus on having a growth mindset of looking forward and realizing that we can all do calculus. It's there. It's possible. And we are going to do the best we can in working together and talking and sharing our math approaches with one another. When we do the remote classes on our red days, I will try to do some Google breakout rooms when that becomes available, and you'll be able to be paired up and working even though you won't be in the same building or in the same classroom with each other, sharing your ideas and approaches. It's a good way to learn math. This is IB. This is a SL2 is the 2-year course. The exam is at the end of this year. It is currently scheduled in May, and at this point, IB is planning on having a sit-down written test at the end of the year in May. There are 2 parts of the test. Paper 1, you are not allowed to use a calculator. Paper 2, you are expected to use a calculator. We'll talk about that as we get through the year. I'll be giving you problems back and forth. We'll look at some calculator tricks to make your life a little bit easier and more efficient. This course also has an IA, an internal assessment. It's a written math paper. It is due this year. We will start on that probably next month, just kind of getting an idea about it. The paper itself is due in the end of January. I will give you feedback on that draft, and if you want, you can make adjustments to that feedback. But it is due in January, so keep that in mind. That's coming up. You do need a graphing calculator for this course because it's expected that you know how to use one on an exam. If you do not have one, I recommend checking one out of the library as soon as possible. Throughout the course, you will be given IB problems, IB mock exams, IB questions, and I will share mark schemes with you, which is how IB would score your problem so you can see what they're looking for and what their terminology means, and what they're expecting from you when they ask you certain things like hence. What does that mean? So we will look at that IB terminology, share a document with you down the road, and we can learn together how to interpret the British IB language. You'll also have an IB formula sheet that you are given on the IB exam, and so you are allowed to use it for pretty much all of the assessments I will give you. There may be one or two where I want you to not use it, but otherwise it will be made available. You will have your own copy. The IB exam sign up to choose whether you're going to take this exam or not is the end of September through the end of October window, and as a Google form, and I will tell you more about that as that approaches. If you do not take the IB exam, which you are not required to, I believe you take a final exam in the class. So there you go. All right, if you are in my Red 2 class and you are remote, I've already shared this Google Classroom code with you, so hopefully you joined it. If not, pause it, join it. I hope you joined it already because my goal was to sync you into my Khan Academy class based on signing up in Google Classroom. So if that didn't happen and you're just joining Google Classroom now and it's after I synced it, no big deal. Here's your actual code to join the right Khan Academy class. If you are in my Red 3 class, here is your Google Classroom code. So the beauty of this video is if I'm going too fast, you can pause, you can back up. It's fantastic. So there's your Google Classroom code if you haven't already done it. And again, if you didn't do it ahead of time and need to manually join my Khan Academy class, there it is right there. And Delta Math, this is going to be important because I think you're going to have an assignment on this right away. So deltamath.com, sign in with your school email always. This is my teacher code, 420189, and make sure you pick the correct block in which you are. So some of you are Red 2, some of you are Red 3. Don't sign into the wrong class because the due dates and due times will not always be the same, and it's also sort of a pain for me when I'm trying to check things and all of a sudden I realize a Red 3 kid is in my Red 2 class. So pick the right block. Alright, so under this model, some of this has to do with you specifically because you're fully remote. Regardless, every day what I intend to do will be posted in the stream on Google Classroom. There'll be a synopsis, there'll be documents linked and attached, so that is your place to go to get everything. Email is how we are going to communicate during this weird time. I'm not going to see you in class, I'm not going to see you in school, I see Red Day is for 40 minutes in a Google Meet, so if you have questions outside of that, please email me. And also, please read your email because I will be talking to you that way back to you. You won't be here on the in-person days, but my plan for the in-person times are basically going to be work on math, possibly doing small assessments. So you'll have the math to work on made available through Classroom, so you can still work on it at the same time we would be working on it. And I will have to figure out how to deal with the assessments. That's something that I'm going to have to figure out down the road. But that is when I generally intend to do assessments, is on those in-person days every 2 weeks. Just little things to begin with until I figure out how this whole model is going to work. The remote blocks, which you will be part of, we'll start with a live Google Meet. I will probably keep it live the whole time and keep it open, but I do intend for you to be doing group or individual work on math. I will probably present some things from time to time. There's a chance that your homework will be videos that you watch, and then during the remote times we are going over those types of things. I may do exit tickets or Google form quizzes during those remote times as well. And you also need to be prepared to possibly take photos of your work and submit them, and so that means your photos must be clear and easy for me to see what I'm supposed to be seeing. So you really, after you take the photo of your work, maybe take a second and look at it before you submit it to make sure it's not fuzzy or blurry or cut off. All right, moving forward. So this is, these are the 2 days, holiday, vacation days, voting day, and I think Labor Day. This is the freshmen's last silver block when freshmen come in. So then R1 meets, S1 meets, and you guys are either R2 or R3, so these will be our first in-class days. Again, For those of you that are remote, you will have the work available to work on the same time I would be having the class, and then remote days on those 2 days as well. Do know that Wednesdays are an extra remote learning day. This says October. That is a typo, and I probably should have fixed that. We will have class on Wednesdays, on Red Wednesdays. In September, there's 1 Red Wednesday, and then after that, it's either 1 or 2 Red Wednesdays. And I am hoping to have class in school, so that would be remote for you guys. And again, whatever we work on will be pushed out in Google Classroom. And then notice the cycle just repeats again every 2 weeks. So this should say September. I don't know why it says October, because we will meet once in September. All right. This is a Desmos activity. I'm going to have kids in class do it. It is not a math activity, but it is good practice to go to student.desmos.com. If you're R2, that's your code. If you're R3, this is your code. You can do that now if you want. I'll be tracking and looking at responses, but again, it's not math. It's just kind of getting used to Desmos, which most of you have already done, if not all of you. But it's also meant for me to get to know you a little bit, and there's some silly questions on there as well. So give that a go if you have a few minutes. It is not a homework assignment at all, but it is a way to make sure we're all know how to do the things that are going to be used during the school year. Equatio is going to be an important, possibly an important tool for you when you do your IA. So if you don't already have the blue diamond icon, which is right there in your corner of your Chromebook, you may want to go to the Google Chrome store, and it's an extension, it's free, add it to your Chrome. It's a math type program, so you can type mathematical equations. The IA, very particular on how you put in mathematics in typed form, so keep that in mind. It may be something very useful. Finally, your homework is IB question number 1, which you don't have, but you can pick it up. I think this is it. Mine's blue. It says problem of the day number 16. I don't know why it's a number 16, but there it is. It's an IB problem, and this is kind of what a question they could ask you on IB exam, and it's something you should already know from SL1 or pre-calc. So take a look at that one. And Delta Math assignment, there's already one there, so you join Delta Math right assignment. You should be able to find SL2 homework quadratic review, converting between forms. Those are the 2 things I would like you to work on before we meet again. And again, we will meet again right here will be the next time we meet. So it is, you know, a little bit of wait. Plenty of time to complete those 2 assignments that I have pushed out to you right here. That is it. Very nice to meet you. I look forward to working with you all year, and please do not forget to email me any questions at any point in time. See you around.